Want to stay ahead of the Riftbound market? Track every card, every price right now at magicalmeta.inc/Riftbound. From every card to every deck and every meta you seek, find it all together at magicalmeta.inc. Game on, everybody, and welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be discussing the Riftbound market, but first and foremost, I wanted to say thank you because over the past week, I started making some really fun infographics and kind of just posting a bunch of different info on Riftbound itself, and my social media has been blowing up, so really, again, thank you. Over on Twitter, I've gotten 103,000 impressions in the last 7 days. I was the guy, if you don't know, who made the Riftbound Origins visual pull rate. I saw this posted and shared by many other people and ended up getting even more likes than that, so it's even higher than what I have for the near 200 likes, so thank you for that. And I was also the person who made this Riftbound domain distribution that was for here, so again, thank you for that. Here's another view that I did. And these video guides were a snippet from my big video, but more in-depth video guides are coming soon. So if you guys have a favorite champion, let me know in the comment section down below who I should start prioritizing making full video guides on, because these ones were just really quick snippets of me discussing what the decks were, but more in-depth guides coming soon. And I also wanted to recap what we have here for the market rarity breakdown as just kind of like a screen cap of proof of never to buy the pre-releases, because the prices are really highly inflated. But let's go ahead and go over to the market watch. For those who don't know, I'm the creator of Magical Meta, and this part of the website is the Riftbound market watch section. And it basically allows me to get a really good overview snapshot, and it's a tool that I created to help me do my market watch videos, to kind of find out what's going on in this TCG, and also just a way for me to kind of keep an eye on cards to see if it's a good buy or not buy. And so we're gonna go ahead and change this to be for the past week. And what we do is it updates in real time for you guys, and we can see that the market rarity breakdown, this is basically now where the average price per card in that rarity exists. We can see that we have the signature cards, then we have the overnumber cards, promos. These are then now just the alternative arts, and then epics, rares, uncommons that are foils, uncommons, commons that are foils, and commons. And that's basically the matrix on how you can read this card. You can go ahead and click on into one, and then you can actually get an overview and change the price range here to kind of get an idea of where the price changes have come for these cards, and also see what the current market price is for these cards. Scrolling down, what I wanted to also show you, most of my market watch videos are going to be discussing the top sellers through every week, but you can see that the top 7 here, if we include the boosters, we have just mostly rune cards, which is hilarious. I'm gonna filter those out right now, but while I filter that out, it's funny because if you end up buying booster boxes, you won't actually get enough runes to build decks, which is so funny because they expect you to buy a starter deck, which I mean you should, to get those runes. But scrolling down here, we can actually see now we have a top 20 of what these top seller cards are, and we're going to go ahead and get more in depth on that now. So to no one's surprise, you can see that we have a lot of Calm, Fury, and Body in Mind. I can't imagine why. Well, it's because we have Kaisa and Master Yi in this game as our top decks within the meta. And if you guys want more in-depth guides on that, please let me know, and I'd be happy to kind of go over them. But I wanted to kind of give you an overview as to what other cards are also selling that I was able to pick up on. Before we get into the individual card by card, I do also just want to point out that my website does have a sealed product section, so you can also track that stuff here, and a set section, so you can actually track cards within each set. And as a reminder, if anybody's interested in purchasing any of these cards, please consider using my TCG Player affiliate link in the description box below, or using a link on my website that takes you to the card, and then any of those kinds of clicks will help me earn commission off of your transactions at no extra cost to you, and as a way just to help continue support my channel. So thank you for considering using my TCG Player affiliate link. Let's go ahead and discuss about the Fury card. So what we have here is Kaisa Survivor as a no-brainer. So this card is just one of those staple cards within Kaisa, and is also a champion unit that you can get access to it at any time. So I've seen some people run 2 to 3 copies within those Kaisa lists, but it's such a good card because for 4, you can accelerate it. So for 5 costs and 1 red Fury rune, you can go ahead and play it as accelerated, and then when you conquer a field, you draw a card. That's such insane card advantage for this card, in the sense of just you're able to not only replace itself immediately, but also go in and conquer a point if the battlefield's just open, and hopefully that with no interactions from your opponent, well, at least you'll be able to defend yourself with a bunch of different spells that the deck is capable of having, such as Falling Star. So Falling Star is currently on the up and up, and what we see is that this card just says deal 3 damage to a unit, do it twice. And for Kai'Sa's legend ability, it's only a 2/1 cost, which just allows you to do such a great trades, especially for really like low to the ground aggro bodies. And then another card I wanted to showcase to you is Darius. So Darius is definitely one of those staple cards as well that says when you play your second card this turn, it gets +2 might this turn and ready me. So it's basically like a pseudo body with like you play it and it kind of has acceleration, but anytime you play a second card, you can always just re-ready it and give it an extra 2 might. So in this game, what I'm noticing is that the format is so heavily about like making really big statted bodies, and then it's just like you have to play the might game where it's like if you have a card that can destroy a very strong unit, great, but if your deck cannot survive cards such as like Falling Star or other kind of removal cards, it's like it does not even matter. Like, you really need to be playing really strong units to kind of have the survivability to kind of hold those boards. And then I also wanted to showcase the Darius alt art, only just because like it was on the up and up, but you can see like for 20 bucks you can get the Darius base art, or for like a little bit more, and I say a little bit more, it's just kind of like the TCG brain of like you can pick up the alt art for just slightly more, and then it's like I'm kind of almost even surprised that this card is not even more so expensive. But really the market is like super inflated. We'll go over some other cards too, but again, one of the main reasons why I wanted to build this app is to kind of give you an inside idea of like what the average price per rarity is. And I will say that it's really inflated at this moment. So if you don't need these cards for a big tournament, like just wait off. I usually personally wait 2 weeks before I buy any type of cards myself. Cards that are super cheap, or at least kind of within this range, you can better justify purchasing it. But I still think once we get more product available, and it's really kind of just, can you wait it out? Don't give into any kind of scalpers. These cards will be available, and there's other ways to kind of supplement certain other cards. But if you just want to play the game, you can definitely do so, but you don't need the best meta decks unless you're really going for a tournament. So that's another conversation. So let's go ahead and move over to the calm colors now. So for calm, what I wanted to only kind of showcase to you today is this Leona. There's not really too many expensive calm cards, but this one was what I caught was going up. But it does have the effect of, if an opponent scores is within 3 points, it enters ready. So it has that ability to come into play as accelerated if you're on like a really good card for catch up. And then sadly, this is only really good in the Leona deck because it has a lot of stun capability, but I feel like we don't have that many stun cards yet in this game to kind of facilitate that strategy. But this is definitely a card for that Leona strategy you want to kind of keep an eye on. But it says stun enemy units here have a -8 might to the minimum of 1. So really kind of plays into that play style. I personally think the showcase card for the Leona legend is maybe the best one. I just love the way that it looks. But for calm, that's what I wanted to showcase to you guys. And then moving on, I will now showcase to you guys the mind cards. So for mind, of course, we have Thousand-Tailed Watcher. The fox at one point was like 15 bucks, and then now it's going up and up and up. So it feels really bad, but for a rare, this just seems way too expensive, but this card is so good, so I kind of really get it. So again, if you really need these cards, sure, you can go ahead and purchase them, but I think if you just play the waiting game, eventually that these cards will come down. Stores have already gotten their second wave of distribution, is from what I've been told, or from what I've heard anyway. So definitely want to kind of keep an eye out for these cards when they come down in price. But right now, a rare card should not be this expensive, because when you see different cards that are at this price point that are technically more harder to pull, it's just like, man, I personally cannot just like justify buying this card. And then for another card I wanted to showcase to you guys is Sprite Mother. This card was at one point I think $1, and then it got bought out, and I was like so bummed out because it's only an uncommon as well too. So keep in mind what the average price of what an uncommon looks like. This card was really affordable, and then now it just kind of shot up. So for me, like an uncommon, I wouldn't pay more than $5 for an uncommon, just because it's like you get 3 per every pack. And maybe like $5 is absolutely pushing it. So I mean, if you want, you can look and justify getting it. It is just one of those really good cards. It has a lot of great playability, because when you get to play it, you play the sprite, and then that sprite can really help go in and conquer those battlefields. But the reason why I wanted to also bring it up is that for an uncommon, $5, sure, but like the foil like is 10 bucks as well. So I mean, and much more rare to pull. So kind of keep in mind of like when you're looking for cards, just kind of think about the difference between the common, or I'm sorry, the foil and non-foil version. But I think this card is really great, and it was recently bought out to this point to go just really up. But I honestly, a lot of cards are kind of been bought out to the point that have gone up, such as what we have is Time Warp. So Time Warp, another card that was $30 I think on a release. I think it was like 20 bucks, and then it went up 30, and I was like, you know, it's a great card for a very specific deck. I don't think you need more than 2 though, in any deck. I was even playing a deck with my, if you guys saw on my Twitter, I posted it my Ari deck where I was playing 3 Time Warps, but it's just so expensive that it's like, if you have so many in your hands, like I've lost a game because I had 2 Time Warps in hand early game after a mulligan, and I was just like, dang, I just wish I didn't. I just wish I didn't have this in my hand. But it is really expensive. I don't see Epics really holding this high. I would just wait it out. And again, if it's core to the strategy, sure, you can shell out and pick it up. But I think when more product becomes available, this will be much more readily accessible. Again, stores are getting more copies over time, and like they are probably going to be more accessibly printing Origin set. So just keep waiting it out, and you don't need these cards at this moment unless you need it for a tournament. Then sure, go ahead and do so, but just wait it out. I think you guys will be able to enjoy the game at a budget level. Maybe I can build some budget level decks for people who are maybe interested in that. I know this is one of those core strategies for especially like maybe the Ari Time Warp deck, but there is another variant that doesn't even play this card, so something to consider, something to just kind of keep an eye on. But I think Epics are currently at the moment way too overinflated for what price they should be at. But again, the market dictates the value of the card. So again, just keep an eye out for this card. Moving on to the body domain. So what we have here is Dazzling Aurora. So this at release was about 60 bucks and has been going up, and I guess even being attempted to be bought out. Very similar to like Time Warp, where that was like at 30. This Epic was at 60. And I really think like Epics at like, I don't even really feel too comfortable saying a price at this point, because I don't want to accidentally like specify a value for the average base of a card. But ultimately the market will kind of dictate where a card should be, right? So, but I just think like this card is really good. It's seeing play in the Master Yi deck, but there is a Master Yi variant that doesn't even play this version of this deck. But any kind of ramp style deck is going to be playing this card, especially that if you can go ahead and play it into Dead Bloom Predator, which is also another card that's insanely overpriced. But before we move on to Dead Bloom Predator, Dazzling Aurora, really good card, says to play something for free. And it's just like overwhelming. Like it does the counter to Kaisa in the sense of just like, I'm going to play a really big body unit, because that's how you beat Kaisa. You just play a really big body unit where their spells are basically unable to really kind of effectively clear out a board. So that's why this card is just more expensive, just because it's a really easy way to hard counter the Kaisa decks. But as we've seen, like those decks are just going to be really good no matter what. It's just kind of like Kaisa has a really good matchup against everything, and the Master Yi is basically just really big body that is effective to like solo hold a board with 1 unit per base, and then get conquer points and hold points even better that way. But anyways, Dead Bloom Predator card's crazy. It even has deflect, so like to target it with any kind of spell or effect, it forces your opponent to downcycle a rune, and then it can also just be played into an occupied battlefield. So just here's like boom, an immediate 8, and then if you want to deal with me, it's like here's 8 to the face, or 8 to the base, right? And it's just, or battlefield, and it's just like deal with me or else like you're gonna lose that board. So it almost kind of guarantees you to get the battlefield whenever you go and play into it. And then another card I wanted to showcase is this Misfortune Captain Altart. And then it's just one of those really great cards that says with the accelerate ability, it's also mighty and has the ganking keyword. And then the first time I move each turn, you may ready something else that's exhausted. So it gives something else the ability to be ready. So I think that, well, this card came up on my my website as a card that's been on the up. So just kind of keep an eye out. Also, the artwork is great for this, so I can imagine a lot of Misfortune players are going to go crazy for any kind of card that she's ever printed on. So just something to keep an eye out on. Moving on over to the Chaos color, we have Stack Deck. Stack Deck is one of those cards that is an uncommon for $5. But the reason why I'm highlighting it is like if the uncommon is at non-foil is $5 and the foil is $7, it's like this card is really good, and it's also in my top 20 sellers over the past week. And it's just like, why not pick up the foil for a little bit of extra money? So I love using my tool of seeing like, okay, what commons and commons are being really bought out or really purchased in high quantity. And then let me go ahead and just see what the price of the foil is. And if they're really close in value, well, I'm just going to get the upgrade. And just that's kind of why I wanted to showcase to you guys this card. This card is really good. But if you can find the foil version, that's even better. And then another card, Possession. This card came up today as a top seller, or as a card that went recently up on my website. Originally was about like at $6, and then now it's at $15. I don't think this card you need more than one. You can maybe play two. This card is just so expensive, but it has a really interesting ability of choosing an enemy at a battlefield, take control of it, and then you place it on your board. Like you recall it to your side of the battlefield, and now it's your card. Really cool. So I just think it's just really expensive though. And then we're gonna go ahead and talk about the order color, which is yellow, and Baited Hook. And this is seeing play in those Darius decks. So if you guys don't know what that is, let me know and I'll go ahead and make a deck profile for that one. But I think this is a really great card because it says for 1 order exhaust this card, you can kill a friendly unit and then look at the top 5 cards of your main deck. You may play a unit among them that has the might of 1 or more than the killed unit, ignoring its cost. Then recycle the rest. You can play a card for free. And then that gets paired well with Seal of Unity, which is why this is the only seal that is this expensive. It's basically a combo that goes into that Darius, and then we also have a Darius, which I'll talk about in a second. But these seals are really affordable, except for this one, because it pairs specifically with Baited Hook. Because you're not downcycling a rune that is order, you just tap the seal instead to pay for it, and then you get to play a card for free, but then you also have to pay the power though. So, but that is just such a cool combo. I think there's a lot of potential with a Baited Hook, especially because you get to play something for free. And then talking about the Darius, so we have this Darius Executioner Alt Art. It was one of those cards that came up today as the top seller that seems to getting a little bit of purchasing power behind it. So, but this card has the Legion when you play me, ready me, and then other friendlies also get +1 strength. So pretty cool stuff here, and the artwork looks really good. All right, so now I wanted to go ahead and discuss about the double domain colors. So we have Kaisa. This is the showcase art, not the signature. So you can see some people were buying out some really high expensive values, but like I think this is pretty solid for a meta legend card, because it'll always just be on board. And if you want to ball out for the signature, sure, go for it. I'm not really too sure where the average will actually land for these alt art leaders, but like this seems pretty great. I was gonna guess somewhere around 150 to 250 depending on the meta viability, maybe even like on the lower end like $80. But again, the pull ratios are posted. I've shared what those exist, but if you really want the Kaisa alt art, I mean, that sounds about right. This card is a meta legend, so it will see some play. Broken leader effect as well. But let's go ahead and discuss some of the double color or double domain color combos. So we have a Catherine Rain. The Kaisa list will typically play 1 or 2 of these, so that's why this card is up. It's just really expensive, but because it's a spell, you can go ahead and play it as a 7/2 instead. And then it does do the 6-time, deal 2 damage to a unit. So you can choose different units. So you're able to really kind of control, spread, deal damage however you like, and just really great spell card for a specific leader. Well, it's meant for her, right? Because it's the only color combo, but it's one of those only few legend signature spells that are seeing play, because most signature spells aren't really kind of viable currently in the format. But it's just because we're really trying to get that you have to match this specific stat line bodied break point in order to like win the game for conquering battlefields. Another card I wanted to go ahead and showcase, another one of those signature spells, is Showstopper. So a buff a friendly unit at your base, then move it to a battlefield. Just one of those key cards for set. It really kind of helps play into that later legend ability to make your bodies like super sticky, because it can go into those battlefields, and then you're more effectively able to do 2-for-1 trades while recalling your unit back to base by tapping your legend unit, and then because you conquered, you re-ready your legend. So really cool interaction there. Very stable card, makes sense. I think this might still be a little bit too high because it is an epic card, but it is just one of those cards that you have to play with the deck, and it is a signature spell, so that's why I'm kind of bringing it up. I do have a section on my website for signature cards. You can see the average price of a signature card is about 16 to 20 bucks, but you can see that we have some outliers here. Anyways, but another card I wanted to showcase is this Guerrilla Warfare. If you are playing Teemo, you have to play this card. That's why it's demanding a slightly higher price point, so this seems about right. If you're playing Teemo, get this card. It allows you to return 2 hidden cards from your trash back to your hand, and then you get to hide cards ignoring its cost this turn. So anything that says you get to reoccur things and then do something for free, broken. It's unfortunate that Teemo seems to be not really kind of getting the love and playability wise, just because it's one of those harder decks, but I truthfully think Teemo is going to be a good deck. It's just not right now, and I'm sorry to say that to all you Teemo lovers. Prove me wrong, please, because I want Teemo to be good. Right now, he's not the best, but he will get better. Because we will be getting more hidden cards, and he will have so many more tools to his at his disposal. Some other cards that I wanted to go ahead and discuss are these rune cards. So what we can see here is they're about averaging like 10 to 15 bucks. If you can pick them up for 10 bucks, that'd be so like awesome, I think, in my opinion. We can see that the Fury and the Mine are much more higher, and that's pretty obvious because, you know, Kai'Sa players are probably going to want to bling out their deck. It's the best deck currently in the format, and this is just kind of what I wanted to showcase to you guys. But one thing, the reason why I'm telling you is that this is like an okay price. I would personally pay like 10 bucks each, and you only ever really need maybe like 7 like rune alt arts for a deck, because that's kind of seems where most decks are playing. They're playing like a 6-6 split or a 5-7 split of a specific rune color, and that's just from what I've seen online. But again, the reason why I'm showcasing you is that there will be more alternative art for runes. So if you don't even like these, I mean they look great. I've seen some of them and they look fantastic. The foiling looks awesome. But again, what I wanted to show you is that during the Nexus Night, there are alternative arts that exist as well, that if you like this style instead, which I don't know, I think I kind of like this a little bit, just a little bit more, and again, if this is something you prefer, there's options. So don't give in. If you don't really like, if you're just trying to max out a deck just to max it out, well, just know there are going to be more options in the future. You can see that even that the cards that are listed here, such as we talked about Stack Deck earlier, for $2 more, you can get the foil version. But this one also comes in a parallel foil, which is kind of like a more like wavy kind of color, or wavy kind of foil texturing. And then these are all the other cards here that you guys can maybe look at. So if you're looking about picking up some of these cards and you were thinking about max rating it out, you maybe want to look into these. And then the Teemo card right here is actually somebody on Reddit has one of these, and look at this. It looks so cute, and he has a little GGEZ, a little toxic there, but it is what it is. But this is also the better Teemo. So I think this is a fantastic promo card. So if you guys weren't even aware of it, now you know. And my website will eventually add it when there's marketing data that's available from TCG Player, because that's how it gets updated. And then the last thing I wanted to go ahead and talk about today was about Proving Grounds. So let me go ahead and pull that up. So Proving Grounds, what we have here is that right now the lowest listing is for $130. Guys, this is a beginner product. Riot needs to print these to the ground, so then that way the game just becomes way more accessible. I'm sorry that if you couldn't get this, but like a beginner product should not be this expensive. It should be much more easily accessible, but who knows? I feel like big boxes are gonna have it. Think of your Targets and Walmart, even like maybe like a Barnes and Noble or whatever kind of like hobby retailer. Of course you want to go ahead and support your locals, but like if they're doing something like this, I don't know, man. You know, anyways, I don't want to get too controversial about that, but support your locals, but like make sure they're also supporting the community is kind of my best way to put it. But this is supposed to be a $30 product. I can imagine maybe paying a little bit more, like maybe 50, maybe 60, but before this set was even out, it was like $90. And then people were able to pick them up at a GameStop for like MSRP, and it's like, man, that does not really feel good when you have to pay way over for an entry-level product. And then what we have here, especially because Master Yi is in the starter deck, or in this set, But we can see, so you get one of these, two of these, one, I think you get two of these, one, I'm just kind of listing off, I think there's two of them in there. It's been a while since I've actually looked at the full set list, but like, 4 listings for $64. Don't give into this, guys. Like, it's really just unfortunate that to see that an entry-level product is so bought up that way. And I would just hold out and just wait until there's more availability. There's supposed to be more product coming. I think it's a week after or after hobby shops get it. There's supposed to be more available at like local retailers. So again, I want you to support your locals, but I mean, they should also be supporting the local community. But right here is what we have here. I wouldn't justify spending way more unless you really need it for a tournament, but I feel like if you're already at that point, you probably have found some of your product there, especially if you want to play Master Yi. But yeah, that's just kind of what I wanted to showcase to you guys today. I have way more videos coming in the future about deck builds and theories, and I even have strategy guides coming along the way. But again, thank you everybody for checking out my video. Please consider leaving a like, subscribing to my channel for more Market Watch related videos and all things Riftbound, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. I'm out of here.